Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar about how to manage and access your SOLIDWORKS design at home from the cloud using our 3DEXPERIENCE tool. The person that will guide us through this is Mark Barrow, who is our Senior Solution Consultant Specialist on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. If you have any questions, please use the chat. We will have a Q&A session at the end, so use the chat to ask any questions during the session. So with that, I hand over to Mark.
Thank you, Matthias. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for taking the time out to join this morning's webinar. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you an exciting new solution from SOLIDWORKS that's going to enable you to easily manage and access your SOLIDWORKS designs from the cloud while having to work from home. So over the last month or so, the majority of us have had to adapt to the new normal of working from home, and I've certainly spent far more time working in the home office than I'd like, and I'm sure all of you are in the same boat. And without the right tools, this working environment can present some real challenges when trying to continue designing and developing products in SOLIDWORKS efficiently, not only with your own colleagues, but also if you're having to collaborate and share SOLIDWORKS designs with stakeholders outside of your company too. And that's all without the added distraction of your kids running around in the background, of course. So just before we get started, it'll be interesting to see what software solutions everyone on the webinar is currently using to access and manage their SOLIDWORKS designs while working remotely. So the first poll I'm going to run is what's the primary solution that you're currently using for accessing your designs? So I give you all a few seconds to vote on that. So of course, many of us are using the company network folders, cloud storage solutions. Some of us have been a bit brave and using laptop workstation hard drives. I can see some of you are also using PDM, and a few of you are using the 3DEXPERIENCE platform already, which is great to see. Okay, so I'll close the poll now and I'll share the results. So interestingly, and it's pretty much what I'd expect. So we've got over half of us that are using company network folders via a VPN. So that's a pretty typical way of accessing your design data and company data while working remotely, of course. Some of you are using the cloud storage, generic cloud storage solutions out there, and using that to access and manage your SOLIDWORKS content. And yeah, quite a few, just under a third, are using your workstation or laptop hard drive as well, and of course, and a fifth are using PDM, and some of you are using the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So let's run one more poll. With those results, are you finding that solution reliable? So over half of you saying yes, just over half saying yes, just over a third some of the time, and 10% no. So for everyone that's already not using PDM, as we've seen, we've got a range of options that you can use, and as we saw from the results of the poll, over a third of you are using, or over half of you, using corporate network folders over a VPN. And of course, they're great for providing secure access and storage, but connections can be slow from time to time, and folder permissions as well can be a little bit cumbersome to configure to ensure everyone has the right access level. And of course, is the server backed up on a regular basis? And then looking at generic cloud storage solutions, they can offer a bit more flexibility when you're working out of the office, but often these solutions don't understand the interdependencies that can exist between SOLIDWORKS files. So if you move files around between different folders outside of SOLIDWORKS, you can easily get in a mess. SOLIDWORKS assemblies and drawings suddenly can't find their dependent parts when you're attempting to open them. And that can also be the same if you're just using Windows folders, of course, via VPN. And also when sharing content and when having to share content externally, the recipient is going to need some relevant software installed to be able to view and review a design. And having to install extra software, of course, isn't always a great experience for your client when you're asking them to quickly review a design proposal, for example. And of course, you can store everything on your laptop workstation or hard drive. I can see some of you are doing that now, and I've done that in the past as well. But it's a bit of a risk. What happens if the hard disk fails or something goes wrong on the laptop? or you need to share content with team members as well, then you've got to start using some of these other tools to bring those into the mix to do it. So all these solutions, they work pretty well a lot of the time. They all have their pros and cons, but what they also miss is the collaboration aspect. And then typically we tend to rely on sending emails to communicate. And on even the smallest of design projects, and there can be a huge amount of information to manage. And relying on email can get pretty overwhelming and difficult to keep track of everything. So with any product development project, even when we're working remotely, we absolutely have to be in control of what we're sharing and with who. And we also want to make sure that how we share that content is secure and simple and built right into our day-to-day SOLIDWORKS design process. So that's typically then how many of us are getting by today. And thank you for all of you that voted in those polls. There was some really interesting feedback. But perhaps these solutions are not as efficient as they could be. So is there a better way we could all work? So using SOLIDWORKS in combination with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform offers some massive advantages over the solutions that we've just looked at. And it does it by delivering a very SOLIDWORKS focused collaborative cloud-based environment that connects all design project stakeholders, ideas and design data all together in one place. So using the 3DEXPERIENCE collaborative business innovator role, which is what I'm going to focus on this morning, you and your design teams can quickly and easily collaborate on, review and evaluate SOLIDWORKS designs wherever you're working, and specifically working from home at the moment. And with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform being cloud-based, wherever you're working at home, and hopefully in the not too distant future when you're back in the office, you can be safe in the knowledge that all of your design content is securely stored and backed up at all times. So basically all you need is an internet connection, and you can log in and work on your design project wherever you are without the need for any additional IT infrastructure or any additional overhead such as VPN or a dedicated server running at your office. And in addition to working with your own team members, you can also securely share SOLIDWORKS designs or documents with external stakeholders outside of your company by simply sending a secure link to a shared file or folder. And then all the recipient needs to do is to create their own 3DEXPERIENCE account to view, mark up, and download the shared designs. So let's next go ahead and take a look at the solution in some more detail. So I'm going to split the demonstration into two parts. In the first part, I'm going to show you how the simple web browser 3DEXPERIENCE dashboard can provide you with an interactive view of your design project related content, including your SOLIDWORKS designs. And then after that, I'll show you how you can easily upload an existing SOLIDWORKS design to a secure cloud folder and then view it in your 3DEXPERIENCE dashboard. And then we'll look at how you can open the design in SOLIDWORKS from the cloud and make a change to it, while at the same time the version in your cloud folder is automatically kept in sync and up to date at all times. And then finally, I'll show how from your 3DEXPERIENCE dashboard, using the 3D Play viewer, you can document your changes and then easily share that information with your other team members in a shared design community. And then in the second part of the demonstration, I'll show you how you can share a SOLIDWORKS design securely with somebody external to your company and how they get access to view, review, and download the files. So let's go ahead and take a look. So I'm going to start just by logging into the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So the 3DEXPERIENCE platform is completely browser based. So I'm just using my web browser here. I'm going to the login page and I'm just logging in with my account. And then once I logged in, I've got my daily design dashboard. And within that, I can use this to view different information. So it's pulling lots of information together from different sources. So as a SOLIDWORKS user, I might want access to maybe my SOLIDWORKS. So I've got quick access to training content, tips and tricks, the wider SOLIDWORKS community, of course. So within your 3DEXPERIENCE dashboard, these tools provide a great way of giving you quick access to information. And I can go in and again look at maybe some best practice documentation and access all kinds of content that's available from my SOLIDWORKS, for example. And you can see down in the bottom left as well, I've got the web notes area down there, so I could have meeting notes captured and stored and just viewable in my dashboard. And I can share this information with any of my team members. So what about SOLIDWORKS designs then? So I'm going to go over to a second tab on my dashboard where I'm looking at some of my cloud storage folders on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform in what we call 3D Drive. So you can see I've got a couple of folders here. I've got a motorcycle clutch and a stand. So this is essentially my my secure cloud storage area for SOLIDWORKS and other documents that I might be using on a design project. So if I want to look at the content within one of these folders, I literally just go ahead and double click on it. And you can see the previews of the SOLIDWORKS designs within that folder. And if I want to view any of these, I can literally just drag it out into the 3D Play viewer to look at it. So this is essentially, if those of you familiar with e-drawings, this is essentially like e-drawings for 3DEXPERIENCE. So this is, again, totally browser based. So I'm doing all of this within my web browser. I can view the drawing as you saw. I can look at the 3D design. So here, just looking at this clutch assembly, and I can do more than just spin it around. I can interact with the design and start to understand it a bit more. If something that somebody's shared with me, for example, so I can section through it, and just using a simple section plane to maybe look at some of the internals. And maybe I want to explode it out and see some of the internal parts, exploded out and away from one another to give me a clearer view. So some great ways of just being able to interact with the design without having to open it up in SOLIDWORKS. And that's the key to all of this, really. You're not having to keep opening things up. You can just quickly drag and drop into the browser pane to view it. So that's looking at some pre-existing designs that I've already stored on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So next what we'll do is take a look at how I can get a design that's not already stored in 3DEXPERIENCE in there. So what I'm going to do next is go ahead and create a new folder. So really simple to do, as you'd expect. So I'm just going to go ahead, create that new folder, give it a name. So I've got a differential assembly that I'm going to upload. And you can see my folder now appears in my files area. So this assembly I've already created, and it's already on a folder on my laptop hard drive. And I want to get it next on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform so I can share it with team members and also view it within my dashboard. So what I'm going to do next is go over to my desktop, and I've got a local 3D Drive folder. So the way this works is you can have a local folder that's constantly being synchronized with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So you can see I've got my clutch folder, and I've got the new differential folder now that's instantly synchronized with my local 3D Drive area. So what I'm going to do next is take that existing design that I've got, which already exists on my hard drive in another folder. I'm just going to do a simple cut and paste to paste it into my local 3D Drive area. And then as soon as I do that, it's going to start synchronizing with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So it's going to start uploading those files to the cloud. So now that no longer are they just stored on my hard drive, they're actually going to be securely stored on Dassault's cloud servers. You can see now if I go down to a little widget in the Windows taskbar area, you can see those folders are now uploading to that secure folder. Those files are uploading. You can see one by one. And you can see the status over on the left-hand side of the screen there. So as they upload, they go green. And then the ones that are synchronizing have got that little blue circle on them. So if we fast forward a couple of minutes, if I come back to my dashboard in my web browser, you can see now I've got all of those files available. So they've uploaded, we've got the previews of the SOLIDWORKS content, so we can clearly see what's what. And then if I just wanted to view this within my dashboard, then I can drag out the top level differential assembly, and then you can see now all of the graphics have been generated, and I can interact with it just like I was doing with that other clutch assembly that we looked at a few moments ago. So it's really as simple as that, to take an existing design that's on your hard drive, and it could be a top level folder with a load of subfolders that you literally just move into your 3D Drive area, and the whole lot gets synchronized, and it's now securely backed up on the cloud. And of course, now we can share that content with other team members that are working on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform as well. So it's a really quick and easy to kind of get this content securely stored and shareable. So let's take a look at making the change if it's actually working within SOLIDWORKS. So what I'm going to do is just go to my SOLIDWORKS session, and I'm going to now work totally from my local 3D Drive folder. And I'm safe in the knowledge that as I'm saving making changes and saving, that all of those changes are going to get synchronized back to the cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that local drive. You can see I've got the differential folder that's all synced up with those represented by those green circles over each file. So I'm going to open up that assembly. So I'm working locally with that local synchronized folder. So we can still work offline as well. So if you don't have an internet connection for whatever reason, you can still work locally on a local synced folder, and then when you connect back up to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform later, then those changes will just synchronize as well. So I'm just going to make a couple of simple changes to the design. So we'll change the hole diameters. And what I'm going to do next, just from SOLIDWORKS, is just go ahead and save it. So there's no difference to my daily workflow when using 3D Drive. I'm just working as I would have done in SOLIDWORKS normally. But the difference is now, as you can see, as I'm saving that from SOLIDWORKS, it's actually synchronizing it again with our secure cloud storage on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So you can see that start to flange part is updated, and as well as the top level assembly with those changes. So if we go back to my dashboard, those changes have updated on the cloud. And what I could do next, maybe I now want to share some of these changes that I've made with other team members. So within the 3D Player Viewer, we can add some markup to the design. So I could be doing this with the mouse. Actually, when I recorded this video, so I was actually using my touchscreen laptop with a stylus as well. So I can, just work and literally just sketch notes and jot notes and symbols and literally just mark up a drawing like it was a piece of paper. So really easy to do. And then next I can share that markup that I've added in a design community. So again, because everything I'm doing here is browser based within the dashboard, I could have been doing this on maybe a phone, or I could have been doing it on my tablet. I'm not limited to actually using my workstation laptop for actually interacting with the geometry within my dashboard. So I've shared this markup that I've added within what we call a design community. So within the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, we can set up what we call communities, and we can use these to share content with other team members. So you can see here within the community, I've got a series of posts. So some of my team members have been creating different posts, sharing information that they've been working on. So there's my post that I just created from 3D Play. And then as other team members comment and add notes, you can see I get notified within my dashboard of those changes. So this could really cut down the amount of email that gets sent around when working on a design project. So rather than everybody going off to email and maybe me taking a screenshot and sending it out as an attachment, or even attaching some SOLIDWORKS files for somebody to look at, we can do all of it within the 3DEXPERIENCE platform within the design community. And then if I click on that post, I can see as well all of the comments now that my team members have added. And of course I can reply and send some comments back to them as well. So it's a great way of just being able to collaborate on a design. And it doesn't just have to be screenshots like this from SOLIDWORKS, like markup. You can create your own wiki pages to share information on a project. You can share videos, images, documents as well within a post. So it's a really great way of collaborating, and it means that you've got this traceable history within a project as well. So rather than having to go through an email trail and search out old emails to refer back to things, you essentially build up a history of everything that took place on a project. So it's a really great way of collaborating. So in that first part, you've seen how the 3DEXPERIENCE platform offers a quick and easy solution for securely storing and managing your designs while working from home, and also sharing that content with your colleagues. And it's also important to just remind you that all of this is possible without requiring any extra IT infrastructure, such as a VPN or a dedicated server running at your office. All you need is an internet connection, because everything is stored and backed up on Dassault's cloud servers. You're essentially just logging in with your 3DEXPERIENCE account. So I'm sure many of you on the webinar this morning have to share SOLIDWORKS designs with other stakeholders that are external to your company. And the 3DEXPERIENCE platform also makes this really easy to do. And it doesn't matter if that person has never used the 3DEXPERIENCE platform before. So any person you want to share content with can simply create a complimentary account to view or download content that you've shared with them. So let's go ahead and look at that in a bit more detail. So what I'm going to do next is share that folder, that differential folder, with somebody outside the company that's maybe going to give me an estimate on getting some of these parts manufactured. So I've got the option to share this folder with a hyperlink. So I can activate the link, and now that's a link I can send out to somebody, and they'll click on that link, and it will take them to create an account for themselves. Now I can also add some layers of security into this, so we can restrict the email address accounts that can access it using that little restricted to checkbox. And also as an admin on your 3DEXPERIENCE platform, you can also see which links have been shared to what documents, and you can even block links as well. So you've got full visibility within your 3DEXPERIENCE environment of what's been shared and with whom. So let's fast forward a few moments. I've sent this link out to somebody, and they've received that in an email, and they've clicked on the link. And what that will do, when they click on that hyperlink, it will load up their web browser, and it will give them the option on the login page to basically create a complimentary account. So you can see they filled in their details, they go ahead and register. And then once they've logged in, when their account's been created, they get the content that I've shared with them. So they've got that differential folder. They can't see anything else, only what I've shared with them. Obviously, they can see all of the previews of the differential parts and some of those sub-assemblies, and they can also view it. So again, because this is all browser-based, they could be doing this on their phone, on a tablet. They don't have to be using a workstation. And they've not had to install any software. They've literally just used their browser to create an account and logged in to see the shared content. So this way of sharing content via the 3DEXPERIENCE platform does go way beyond the visualization capabilities that you get with any generic cloud storage solution. So you can they can interact with the design, they can section it, they can explode it out like you've seen with some of the other examples. They can even mark it up and send the markup back as well. Also importantly, they've got the option to download. So they've got a download button up in the top right hand corner, as you can see there. So they would literally, to get those files, they can click on that and download them. And then if they wanted to then go ahead and work on them in SOLIDWORKS, they could do that. So they don't just have access to the data that you've shared with them, they can also join in the wider 3DEXPERIENCE and SOLIDWORKS community. And this is also something you can do with SOLIDWORKS users as well as 3DEXPERIENCE platform members. So we've got some public communities that give, enabled basically everybody on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform around the world using SOLIDWORKS to kind of share information and collaborate together. And there's a whole host of areas for kind of training, tips and tricks, how to get started with the platform. But also, all 3DEXPERIENCE and SOLIDWORKS users around the world can create posts in here and share content. So maybe share their own success stories, share their own tips and tricks with the wider SOLIDWORKS communities. So I know some of you are used to using the SOLIDWORKS forums on solidworks.com. So as a 3DEXPERIENCE user, you've also got access to these communities, which really take the traditional forum approach really to the next level, far more interactive and visual. And then finally, beyond that, as a 3DEXPERIENCE user, you've also got access to a number of areas within the 3DEXPERIENCE marketplace, people offering engineering services. And those of you that are companies that offer your own services to the wider world as well can also join these communities. So for example, we've got the 3DEXPERIENCE engineering. So this is where engineering service providers all around the world can offer their services to other SOLIDWORKS and 3DEXPERIENCE customers. And also we have the the Make community as well as part of Marketplace, where again, companies all around the world offering 3D printing, additive manufacturing can offer their services as well. So your recipients, if you're sending content and sharing that with them outside of your own 3D Experience platform, we've got access to all of this content, but also you yourselves, if you start using the 3D Experience platform, once you get on it, you can have access to all of these extra services. And as I said earlier, if you offer these services yourselves, then you can sign up and advertise your own services on these as well. So it's a fantastic kind of ecosystem to share information on the 3D Experience platform. So as you've just seen, the 3D Experience platform does make it really easy to securely share content outside of your company with external stakeholders. And the level of visualization and interaction with the SOLIDWORKS design content does go far beyond what's possible with generic cloud storage solutions. But not only does the recipient have access to the shared design content, but as you've just seen, they also become a member of the worldwide SOLIDWORKS 3D Experience community with access to thousands of engineering service providers and manufacturers. So that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour of how you can use these tools, when you're working from home, and if you're looking for something that's offers you much more visualization, much more security, and a much better way of collaborating with other team members. And this is a really quick and easy set of tools to get up and running with. So in summary, the 3D Experience platform is as I mentioned already, it's a fully cloud-based collaboration solution that's been designed specifically for SOLIDWORKS. All of the infrastructure is maintained by Dassault, which means you can be up and running in literally a few minutes by creating an account. There's no server to configure and maintain. There's no VPN required. There's no extra software that you've got to install or manually deploy, all of which can significantly reduce your IT overhead whilst providing a secure environment for storing your design data. And of course, you and your design teams can then quickly and easily create, store, review, and share SOLIDWORKS designs. And of course, all of this while working from home. So access to the 3D Experience Collaborative Business Innovator role, which is what I've been focusing on over the last 30 minutes, is through the purchase of either a quarterly or an annual subscription. And all you need is an internet connection, create an account, and then you're ready to log in and start working on your design project. So one last thing before I just open it up for questions, I'd like to just run one more poll just to get some feedback from everybody. So if you could just take a second just to fill in the poll, and then we'll answer a few questions, because I can see there's been a few questions popping up as we've gone through it. So I'll just leave that poll running for a few seconds to give everybody a chance to reply. And of course, we're more than happy to give any of you that are interested a more in-depth demonstration. So obviously, once we've finished the webinar, just reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to go into these capabilities in more detail, because we've really only scratched the surface in the last 30 minutes. Okay, thank you to everyone that's just shared their response in the poll there. So just to finish up then, so many of you might be thinking, well, what about introducing revision control and lifecycle capabilities for SOLIDWORKS? So as I've said already this morning, I've really just been focusing on the foundation capabilities of the 3D Experience platform that can really add value and make a big difference when you're working from home, if you're looking for something to get up and running with really quickly. But there are many more capabilities available for SOLIDWORKS users and teams in your business as well, beyond just the design department. And we're going to be running another webinar on May the 7th, where we're going to go beyond just the collaborative business innovator role and dive a lot deeper into the extended capabilities, specifically for revision control, content lifecycle, and many more, which again are all totally cloud-based. So please, if you're interested, go ahead and register for that one when the invitations go out in a few days. So that brings me to the end of the presentation. So I'd like to thank everybody for attending this morning.